say amen. Turn to the book of 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. Second Corinthians 10. Are you there? I got three familiar verses, and go head toward the house. Starting in verse number 3. It reads, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ." You may be seated. Recently, I joined what is called a knowledge club. And I know y'all may be saying, what is a knowledge club? A knowledge club is a group of individuals that get together and read a book, and once you read that book, you share your knowledge and your insights on the book in which you have read. And the first book in which we read in our club was the Willie Lynch letter on making a slave. And in this book, you have this British slave owner by the name of Willie Lynch that came over to America in 1712 to talk to some Virginia slave owners to give them his method and tactics on how to make a obedient and productive slave. And one of the things in which Willie said that if you use my method and tactics the proper way, you will forever have obedient and submissive slaves. In this letter, Willie said one of the things in which he would do as he began to deal with the female slave is he would remove the male slave from the female slave. And when he would do this, this would cause the female slave to become solely dependent upon the slave master for everything that she needed. So if she needed food, she would go to the slave master. If she needed clothing, she would go to the slave master. If she needed to go to the back, she would go to the slave master for everything that she needed, because her mentality was that her slave master was her everything. When this female slave would have children, the same mentality would be passed down to her sons and daughters as well. The mentality that if you need anything, that you go to the slave master mentality. Because see, this is one thing that Willie understood and Willie knew. That if you could get control of the mind, then you could get control of the body and you could keep it in control and under submission. You missed what I just said. Willie knew that if you could get control of the mind, then you could keep control of the body and can keep it in submission. Now, Willie's tactics would be used in America for over 400 years successfully, until a civil war broke out and the signing of a document called the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, once this took place, slaves that had been in captivity all their life had now been physically set free, but some were still mentally enslaved. You missed what I'm saying, but stay with me. I said the document, the Emancipation Proclamation, had freed them. The Civil War had physically freed them, but they were still in bondage mentally. Okay, y'all still don't want to walk with me. Just because they had been freed physically did not mean that they had been freed, that they had been freed mentally. Yes. Okay. My brothers and sisters, I must sadly report that as I go from church to church and look among the pews, that I'm finding slaves. Well, Reverend, what are you talking about? Well, if you're saved, you were in bondage to sin before you got saved.
All right.
And you had a slave master by the name of Satan.
All right.
But then there was a battle on a hill called Calvary, because a man from heaven came down by the name of Jesus.
Yes.
That fought on Calvary and set you free.
All right.
Now at Calvary, you were set free.
Yes.
And you were supposed to live a free life.
Yes.
Because you confessed and said that I'm a Christian and I'm going to live for Jesus. I'm going to walk the walk. I'm going to talk the talk. But if you look now in some churches, if you go to some homes, if you go to some schools, I find somewhat of a problem. Because what you say and what you confess is not lining up. Could it be that you still have a slave mentality? But Pastor, this ain't no good sermon today. It's going to get good. Could it be the only way in order for you to live a life that's free and full for Jesus Christ is that the mind that you have,
Yes.
you got to lose your mind?
All right.
Now see, a lot of times we look at that phrase and we look at it with negative connotations and we think bad of it, but I stopped by to tell you on a Sunday morning that the mind that you have don't always right way.
Okay, go ahead.
Let y'all a Bible church. Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ
Yes.
Jesus. So, in order for you to live the life that Christ wants you to live and you not be a slave to the world and the things of the world, somebody in the house today, you're going to have to lose your mind. And see, a lot of times you think when you hear that, well, Pastor want me to go crazy. No. I need for you to lose some of the worldly things that you're so enslaved to. Let go of that and get the mind of Christ. And right here in the text, Paul is going to help us to lose our mind.
All right.
So our sermon subject today is going to be real simple, and we're going to head toward ours. Is you're going to have to personalize it. I've lost my mind. I know y'all don't like that, but because some of y'all think you're smarter than what you is, but it's going to be all right. Sermon subject today is I've lost my mind. That's right. Can we walk? This 2 Corinthians is one of Paul's more personal letters because there were some false teachers that was in the church that was preaching a doctrine and a gospel that was not only against Paul, but it was also against Christ. Because this was a section of preachers that was trying to make themselves apostles, but the gospel, they was called Gnostics, and the gospel that they were preaching a gospel that said that Jesus, he didn't really suffer on earth, and that Jesus wasn't really who he said he was. Can I help you? And I know I just started. If you don't get Jesus straight, who, when, and what he is in your mind, then this walk that you're trying to walk, called a Christian walk, you will not be able to do it right. So you have to get straight in your mind who and what Jesus is. Is there anybody in this house today know who and what Jesus is in your mind? Do you know who he is? Do you know where he came from? Do you know what he did? Well, that'll help you get started in your walk.
All right.
But Paul gets started in chapter 10, and I'm going to jump down to verse 3 because watch what it says. Paul is real honest. Paul says, we live in a stuff called the flesh. Y'all do this real quick. Pinch yourself. Because this was thousands of years ago. Paul says, just like the people, just like those in Corinth, he says, they live in the flesh. But guess what? We live in the flesh as well. Can I help y'all that all my super spiritual folk that's in the house today, super spiritual folk that think they don't never mess up, they don't never say nothing wrong, don't never do nothing wrong, y'all, can I help y'all out? Yeah. Y'all live in the flesh too.
Yeah.
And since you live in the flesh, guess what?
Yeah.
You gonna do some fleshly stuff.
Yes.
Every once in a while. Hello, y'all might as well wake up and amen every once in a while. Nod your head.
Amen.
Do your jaws and do something. But you're gonna do it every once in a while. But watch what Paul says though. He's a realist. He says, I'm not gonna deny the fact, I'm in verse 3, that I don't live in the flesh. But watch this. Fleshly people fight in the flesh.
Yes.
But Paul says, I don't war in the flesh. Did y'all catch what he just said? When you live in the flesh, you'll fight in the flesh. Come here, Christians. You should not be fighting in the flesh.
Yes.
Hello. Check 1, 2. Is my microphone still on?
Amen.
Don't you Christian folks should be fighting in the flesh. Because watch what he says in verse number 4. He says, for my weapons. Because watch this. Whenever carnal people, whenever fleshly people, whenever problems, whenever they issues
Yes.
come up, whenever they have a war, whenever they have a battle, they go get a tank, they go get a gun, they go get a knife, they go get soldiers to fight their battles. Because that's what the flesh do. Okay, let me go another one. Whenever carnal people run into problems, they go to cussing,
Yes.
fighting,
Yes.
throwing up fingers, cutting knives. I ain't hit you yet. Yeah, I ain't hit you yet. Slamming doors. I ain't went down your street yet. Hanging up phones. Saying ugly words. I'm talking carnal people. You use carnal weapons to fight battles. But Paul says, no, that's not what we do. Because remember, he's talking to church folk. He's talking to the church at Corinth. He says, if you're going to fight, this is how you fight. I'm in verse number 4. He says, but my weapons are not carnal. But he says, I use spiritual weapons. Hello? He says, I put on the belt of truth.
Yeah.
He says, I place on the breastplate of righteousness. I shod my feet with the gospel. He said, I throw on the helmet of salvation. He said, I get me the sword of the Spirit. He says, I get me the shield of faith. Whenever I begin to fight my battles, y'all should remember all the armor. I'm putting on the armor of God. I'm trying to help get y'all get some armor on whenever you get to go to fight this spiritual weapon. I mean, this spiritual war. He says, that is what I do whenever I begin to go and fight battles, because you can't win a spiritual battle using physical weapons. I just said something you just missed. Too many times Christians are fighting physical battles with other way around. Too many times Christians are fighting spiritual battles with physical weapons.
Yes.
And it won't work.
Amen. Amen.
Because can I show you something else? A carnal person, their weapons draw their strength from the earth.
All right.
I'm going to help you for a minute. See, whenever you fight with something carnal, stay right there in verse number 4. That carnal weapon, if you're fighting with a gun, is only as powerful as the strength of that gun. If you're cutting somebody with a knife, that knife is going to be only as powerful as the person that's holding that knife. The army, whatever country sends that army is only going to be as powerful as the country that sends that army. Because it's carnal, it's physical. But hold on. Paul, what does your spiritual weapon strength come from? It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through. Mighty through who?
God.
Mighty through who?
God.
If you use spiritual weapons, their power comes
From God.
Y'all don't know when to get it happen.
God.
Brother James, Brother Kane, Sister Kane,
Yes.
Dean, Sister Angel, Brother Franklin.
Thank you, Lord.
I told y'all I'm going to teach today.
All right, all right,
That's my Sunday school class. I told y'all this y'all fault.
all right.
Now, it says that strength, the power, comes through God. And it says, watch what it says, to the pulling down of strongholds.
Yeah.
But hold on, I got to keep it in line with what we're talking about today. I told y'all have to do what today? Hello, what's my sermon topic? Well, y'all need y'all to wake up. I've lost my mind.
Yes.
And that says that these weapons is the pulling down of what? Strongholds. But hold on, I guess we need to define what, Sister Fraser, we got to define what stronghold is then, don't we? It'll help on it. Because I'm suited up. I'm ready to fight. So I need to see what these strongholds that's getting ready to fall down, right? Let's define stronghold. A stronghold is wrong thoughts. Here in verse number 4. It's wrong thoughts, wrong perceptions, and wrong knowledge as it pertains to God.
All right.
Yo, that's good stuff.
Amen.
That is good stuff. Wrong thoughts, wrong perceptions, and wrong knowledge as it pertains to God.
Yes, yes, yes.
Did y'all hear what I just said?
Yes.
So that means that I should be able to have something that's on the inside of me. Let me deal with wrong thoughts. That's whenever I told y'all I gotta lose my mind. That whenever wrong thoughts shows up, that God has placed something that's on the inside of me because I got the belt of truth.
Yes.
So my belt of truth, if I got it wrapped around me, if wrong thoughts show up, since I got the belt of truth, it can defend against wrong thoughts. If they say God is not so, I already got wrong.
All right, all right, all right.
I'm trying to help y'all today. You'll get a shout maybe next week. I'm trying to help you lose that mind. I'm trying to help you with a better mind. When you're armed the right way, you'll live better.
Yes.
But the belt of truth says, whenever people come with foolishness, I'm armed with the right stuff. But hold on. But also wrong perceptions. Somebody done told you all your life, you ain't gonna be nothing.
All right.
You ain't gonna mount to nothing.
Yes.
You never was nothing. But hold on. This book says, I'm a child of the King.
Yes.
I'm more than a conqueror.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm above, and I'm telling you what I'm telling you what the book says.
Yes.
So if I know the truth,
Yes.
then guess what? I can walk in the truth.
Yes.
All right.
So any stronghold that has been placed on me,
Yes.
it can be broken because guess what? I'm armored
Oh, yeah.
with God's power. Don't let somebody that's weak try and bind you
Nope.
and keep you down.
Yes.
But let me keep it moving because I ain't got but a minute. Now, but the next thing that Paul tells you, if you're going to lose your mind, we need to come to verse number 5. Now watch what Paul says. He says you need to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God. Stop it. He said, cast down. Are you there? That's 5A. I'm doing 5A and 5B. That's 5A. Cast out. Now, when you come here, people that are carnal, Sister Morgan, when people are carnal, C-A-R-N-A-L, carnal people, and worldly people, they think that they know more than God. Carnal people. And then when you see this term, casting down imaginations, what that really means when you go back and look at it in its original term, that's really mean they really like to argue with God. They like to argue with God's mind and his methods of how God do things. Why is it so quiet? That's all.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
And watch this. And not only do carnal and worldly people think they know more than God, but then also they will oftentimes see the second part of that. Notice what it says. And every high thing exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Will exalt themselves. Exalt. Will raise themselves up. Will rise. Will push themselves up. I'm not saying that they will push themselves up to be seated at the right hand of the Father, but carnal and worldly thinking people sometimes think that they know just as much as God. Y'all believe me?
Yes.
But watch this though. Carnal and worldly people, because we're dealing with the mind. But let me show you the problem that I found. Justin, can I show you the problem that I found with this? When Paul was writing his letter, Brother Sherman, he wasn't talking to the people that was walking on Pippin Street. He was talking to people that were sitting in Union Progressive.
Amen.
Uh-oh. So, did y'all catch what I just said? He wasn't talking to carnal and worldly people out there. He was talking to carnal and worldly thinking people in here. And as quiet as it is kept, you have carnal and worldly thinking Christians. I knew this. I knew I wouldn't go. I was prepared for no amens on this sermon. But I was prepared to help a whole bunch of folk. And not only do you have a bunch of carnal and worldly thinking Christians, but the same ones that's carnal and worldly thinking, they have strongholds as well. Well, Reverend, you remember I said one of the things at the beginning is people that like to argue with God and not like to do what he says to do. Always got a better way. Because I know God can ask people to go, do, stop, obey, give, worship, whatever. And I know people that will always have an excuse or a good rational reason of why they should. And I'm looking at some. Cricket quiet. Cricket quiet. Well, Reverend, my question is, at what point are we going to lose our way of thinking and say, you know what? It's not about me and what I want to do, but it's all about what God wants me to do. Because I got to get my mind right. And the only way for me to get my mind right is I got to lose my mind and get the mind of Christ. But hold on. Some of us are too smart for our own good.
All right.
You want me to tell you how I know that? We think we know more than what we really know. And we refuse to let anybody have that much control over our mind. I can prove it and I'll leave. Watch verse number 2. Well, let's stay in verse number 5. Now watch this. Brother Green, this is going to be deep. Now watch this. Now the second part of this, watch what Paul says. Not only did he tell you to cast down your imaginations and every high thing and exalt yourselves into the knowledge of God, but then he says, watch this. He took it a step further. He says, bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Hello, my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Bring every thought. Now, can I get y'all attention for just a minute? Every thought that comes through our head, according to this verse, has to be brought into captivity. Now, y'all look at me saying, well, Reverend, that's easier said than done. I agree with you. But even with it being easier said than done, y'all, would y'all agree with it? Easier said than done. So y'all look up, now look back down. Did that change what the verse said?
No.
Okay, look up, look back down again. Did it change again from the time in which you looked up twice and looked back down? Did it change? Didn't change, not one time did it. It still reads the same, don't it? I don't care how difficult we make it. If y'all believe in the Bible, it's going to read the same. If y'all pick this Bible up and y'all turn to 2 Corinthians 10, verse number 5 tomorrow, I promise you, it's still going to read the same. We cannot say, well, Pastor, that's too hard. I can't really do that. We are responsible for what comes into our mind. Hello? We cannot give access to any and everything, allowing it to come in and out of your mind. Are you listening to me? Some of us give access to everything to come freely in and out of our minds. Watch this. And then you wonder why you do some of the things that you do.
Yes.
Come on, come on.
Yeah.
You wonder why you say some of the things you say. It's because you open up that door to your mind to allow stuff in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amen.
Once a person gets, or once something gets control of your mind,
Yeah.
the rest of you is going to follow. Why do you think the same writer that wrote 2 Corinthians 10 and 5 wrote Romans 12 and 2? You know what Romans 12 and 2 says, right? Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed
Yes.
by the renewing of your,
Mine.
by the renewing of your
Mine.
mind. And that word renew means to make a complete change for the better.
Yeah.
That's what the word renew means.
Yeah.
Whenever you renew your mind, it should be, watch this,
Yeah.
not just to change, but to change for the better.
Yes.
Y'all miss what I just said.
Yes, Lord.
And y'all, too many times, we don't want to change our mind. Did y'all catch what I just said? We don't want to change our mind. Because I've heard it up in here. That's just why I am. I've always been like that.
Oh, Lord.
It's a mind thing. We can change. Now, and I forgot to tell you this morning. Today would have marked the 27th year that I went into the military, June the 2nd. June the 2nd, right? June. Today the 1st? Day the 2nd. Day the 2nd. Would have been 27 years. But when you go into the military, watch this. You show up, they take all your clothing. Then they give you their clothing. They don't do the women, they probably should. But then they take them in, they put you in a chair, they shave your hair off, get your hair right. And then they go and do all kind of physical stuff. In the Navy, they make you do swim tests and all that good stuff. They do all kind of physical stuff to get you physically able to do what they physically want you to do for the Navy, for the military.
Yes.
But it doesn't stop with the physical, because you will only be a partial soldier if they only work on nothing but your physical. Then they take you in the class and they give you all their doctrine. You have to take tests, you have to write tests. And then they do psychological stuff where they put you in gas chambers and they do, I ain't gonna talk about some of the other stuff that they do other things psychologically to you to get your mind indoctrinated to be a soldier. Come here. There's a lot of Christians.
Yes.
You completed the task
Yes.
of doing the physical part because you stopped the clubbing, you stopped the drinking, you stopped the smoking, some of y'all. Anyway, you stopped some of the physical stuff. But the question is, did you complete the process
Yes.
with the mind part?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Did you complete the mind part?
Yes, Lord.
Because you cannot say that I can't do it, because you're responsible. Watch this. Everybody sitting up in here is responsible
Yes.
for what goes into
Your mind.
your mind. Let me give you one more now. Sit down. How many of y'all have a bank account? Most of y'all. How many of y'all give access to that bank account to anybody? Anybody? Y'all just freely, just nilly-willy, just get a password, get a passcode out just to anybody. Y'all don't? But how many of y'all, there are certain people that have access to that account? Certain people. Guess what? Your mind should be the same way with thoughts. I just said to you, I always do it. Your mind should be the same way. Every thought should not have free access to your mind. Hello. Every thought should have free range just to go in your head and just run around and do what it want to. If you can protect your bank account that much, why can't you protect your mind that much? I'm gone. But the question must be asked, well, Reverend, why in the world should I really allow something as personal as my thoughts, something that personal? Why should I give all of that to Christ? Because the end of that verse says that everything should be captive and every thought should be unto the obedience of Christ. Why should Christ be allowed something so personal as even my innermost thoughts? Because there's times when something is real personal. Why should he have access to something so personal? I'll give you this and I'm gone. Not long ago, I was in the house. I was in the house and I was doing something and I was looking for something and I couldn't find what I was looking for. So I said went into Jeffrey's room to look for it, and he happened to see me coming out of his room, and he asked me the question. He said, well, Daddy, he said, what you doing in my room? And I said, well, since your room is in my house, I'll go in your room when I want to. I'm gonna let that marinate for a minute for y'all. Yes, his mother and I have given him a room, but his room is located on the inside of my house. You would ask the question, well, why would God want obedience, want you to bring the thoughts, your most interpersonal things to him? Well, 1 Corinthians, I think it's around 16 and 19 and 20. It does say something about you've been bought at a price. So therefore you should, your body is something like a temple. So therefore, since you don't belong to you and you belong to him, let me let y'all out of here, because it ain't that type of sermon. You don't belong to you anyway. Therefore, your thoughts anyway, y'all, I'm gone. Your thoughts are not secrets to him. Anyway, Raymond, you can play me. I'm gone. They've been too quiet for me. Maybe this is a serenade on it. This will bring me back to. But this is where I'm trying to get us to. If we don't get our mind
Uh-huh.
to a mind of Christ,
Yeah.
do we not understand that some of the small things that turns into big things is because we won't let go some of the worldly things and get the mind of Christ in us?
Yeah.
Too many times we allow the worldly stuff to override God and His stuff. Well, Pastor, no, I don't. No, I don't. Yes, we do. How do I know? Because you see it in the fruit in which you bear. Yeah. From the way you speak. From the way we live.
Yeah.
From the way we interact with one another.
Yes, Lord Jesus.
But watch this. It all starts with,
Your
it starts
mind.
with
Your mind.
the mind. Think about this. If you fill your mind
Everything in your mind.
with love in the things of God, do you think it becomes easy to treat people any kind of way?
Nope. Nope.
It becomes very hard if you're thinking, okay, love, kindness, forgiveness, salvation. If you got these things on your mind,
Yes.
it becomes very hard to be nasty.
Yes. Yes.
But watch this. When you wake up
That's right.
with I'm going to be a devil on your mind, I promise you, you're going to get all the devil out you that day. Y'all laughing, but some of us wake up
Oh, yes.
angry,
Yes.
bitter. Let me try this one. Defeated, discouraged. And that is how you live out your life. And God did not create you
Nope.
as such.
No, no.
But it all starts
In your mind.
in the mind. And I promise you, some of y'all, you need to lose your mind. I promise you, it's okay. You need to walk out there and say, I've lost my mind. But you need to have a smile on your face when you say it. I've lost my mind. But then you've picked up the mind of Christ.
Yes. Yes.
And I promise you, you will live a life
Thank you, Lord.
that's fulfilled.
Yes, Lord.
A life of Christ I promise you, it's going to be much better
Yes.
than what you was trying to do. Y'all, come on, let's go. Let's hit the water now. I've spent my time. It's going to be all right. Y'all may get another one next Sunday. Sister Ray, they may get another one. I shouldn't pre-warn them, but they may get another one next Sunday. Come on, baby.